Hey, hello, welcome back to Separator for AWS online training. We're about to start session number 11, configuring your PBX and endpoints. And this is basically um, considerations regarding what needs to be configured on the PBX and what needs to be configured on the endpoints for remote users. And we're going to use examples of some known brand phones and specific PBX, but this is a generic topic and it can be adapted to almost any any PBX or any phone. But with the example, you're going to be able to understand exactly what I'm saying. So, okay, configuring PBX and endpoints. PBX SIP trunking considerations. This is the section where we are going to talk about you need to build uh, SIP trunks between the PBX and the separator associated to any traffic inbound and outbound to the PSTN with the PSTN. If we have more than one ITSP, from the perspective of the PBX, there is only one SIP trunk going to the gate, and the gate is the one taking decisions on how to route the calls to different ITSPs for the PSTN. For example, using a different carrier for mobile calls or landline calls, etc. So um, for the exercise, we use in our lab on open source free PBX uh, PBX, and what we do basically is create a zip trunk, and the zip trunk created on the PBX will be pointing to, for example, if we are using listening zip in port 5060 and 45062, we may want to all the outgoing traffic on the zip settings for the PBX uh, for the zip trunk for PSTN connectivity sent to the port 5062 of 10.0.1.147. This IP address is the Ethernet 1 IP address on the ingate, the interface that is landed in the private subnet. Okay? The type is going to be peer and qualified yes, meaning that there's going to be using zip options to detect if the trunk is up or down. On the incoming, all the incoming traffic will be received from the same IP address of the ingate and coming from the port 5060. Okay, this is, in other words, I mean, the important concept here is that from the PBX perspective, there is only one zip trunk for no matter that you have more than one ITSPs. All these distribution between different ITSPs can be done and managed on the separator. Okay, on the PBX, you're going to need to configure the inbound routes. For example, in this case, we are creating inbound routes matching the DIDs, the Dennis or the DID, and this will match with how on the dial plan PBX lines we have been matching the DIDs coming from the carrier and where are we sending the call on the PBX. So whatever we put here in this section is what is going to match on the inbound rules on the PBX. Okay. And okay, the PBX is defined here. Okay, for outbound routes, we have an outbound route defined on the PBX, And this outbound route has a caller ID that is going to be sent as part of the call, and it's going to use a trunk for the outbound that is called PSTN. And this called PSTN, this trunk has an outgoing zip configuration pointing to port 5062 in the in-gate. So any call coming to the in-gate will land on the dial plan, and the dial plan is the one that is going to take the decision how to route the call, as we explained on the previous session. And so you have the matching from headers coming from the PBX. It will match the prefix that somehow the PBX is adding to the call. It's being stripped off from the destination, from the request URI. And we have three potential routes, three potential carriers, and we do the matching and the dial plan to each one of the potential destinations. So we are routing calls based on prefix. That's what we are doing here. To configure the endpoints, I'm providing here some examples with Sangoma S400 and a SNOM A70. Uh, as you can see, we are using the domain name. This is going to help on matching on the DNS override that we explained it in a couple sessions before. And we are using as an outbound proxy the public IP address of the in-gate. Okay. Here is we are using the domain in order to make sure that it's going to match on the DNS override. This is a typical configuration on an S400. The A70 from SNOM is very similar. We are using the registrar is what we call the domain, and the outbound proxy is the public IP address of the in-gate. Yeah. This is another example with a Grandstream GXV 3240. We are using the zip server is where the domain is located, and the outbound proxy is the IP address of the in-gate. Okay, that's all the considerations for those third-party components in the solution, the PBX and the endpoints. So if you have any questions, please remember that you can send email to trainingquestions@ingate.com. That's all for now. Hope to see you in the next one.